Buckle up, friends, and welcome to the Thriving Alcohol-Free Podcast. I'm your host, Deb, otherwise known as Mocktail Mom, a retired wine drinker that finally got sick and tired of spinning on life's broken record called Detox to Retox. Let this podcast be an encouragement to you if alcohol is maybe a form of self-care for you, where you find yourself dragging through the day waiting to pour another glass. I am excited to share with you the fun of discovering new things to drink when you aren't drinking and the joy of waking up each day without a hangover. It is an honor to serve as your sober fun guide, so sit back and relax or keep doing whatever it is you're doing. This show is produced for you with love from the great state of Kentucky. Thanks so much for being here and big time cheers. Okay, hey friends, welcome back to Thriving Alcohol Free. I am Deb, Mocktail Mom, your host, and I am so excited. Across the pond today, our guest is Jodi Clark. Her Instagram handle is Sober Flourish. If you're not following her, please follow along. Jodi and I have never met. We follow each other on Instagram, and I am so happy to connect with you today. I cannot wait to hear your story of becoming alcohol-free and all that you're doing. You're a sober coach and a mentor. And I love how you show up on Instagram. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm excited.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you. And it's so fun because I can see right now it's dark where you are. Yeah. We're in different time zones. And we were just laughing off camera of just all the tech challenges. So we're recording today on Zoom. I don't normally use Zoom for my podcast, but we're going to just test it out today. And I'm sure everything will go great. Zoom works good.
I'm going to roll with it.
We're going to roll with it. Yes, we're going to hope the boys, your sons, behave themselves, right?
If the door bursts open, it'll either be one of two boys or one of the dogs.
That's hilarious. And my dog's asleep underneath the table. Okay, yes. How old are your boys?
No, I have Ollie, that is 7. And then I have Dexter, that's 14. So a huge age gap.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, my girls are 6 years apart. And it's nice because there's like different ones, 22. Well, yeah, going to be 23 this week. And then one just turned 17. So it's nice to have that different stages that they're in, right? Or are you finding it not tonight?
I think now the younger one is older, it's better. I think when my eldest was the same age that Ollie is now, he used to just look up and think, well, what does he do? What's the point? He's a big move. He's loud. He's very annoying. Yeah. And now as they've got older, he's probably still very loud and very annoying, but he's a lot tolerant of him.
Now he can be loud with him. Yeah, he can follow right along. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you get into this space? How did you start sharing on Instagram? And I would love to hear your story of breaking up with alcohol.
Okay, so I started sharing my alcohol-free journey on Instagram on a day 1 of a 100-day alcohol-free challenge. And I did that just to kind of hold myself accountable. And I just started sharing, oversharing emotion, things that I was going through, things that I was nervous about. And then those sober first started trickling in, and I was sharing kind of how I'd overcome them and how I felt after them and the kind of sober glimmers that I was facing. And during that time, I started to kind of get messages from other ladies sharing their experiences and sort of saying, oh gosh, I'm really nervous about this too. Can you give me some tips? I noticed you'd just been to your first party or whatever it might be. And kind of in doing that, I started to feel like this little fire being lit in me because I really enjoyed that sentiment of helping other people. I wasn't anywhere. I mean, we're talking in that first initial 100-day period, so I never kind of proclaimed to be a specialist in that field or anything like that. It's just girls sharing, helping each other out. And as kind of time went on, I realised I'd really got a passion for it. But equally, it's also a bit of personally, I feel that you have to be careful when you're helping other people when they're alcohol-free because it's a spectrum, right? Everybody has an opinion on kind of how they want to choose to label themselves based on how much they drink and whether they're dependent, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it can be a bit of a minefield. And personally, I think that you have to be careful when you're supporting other women because we're not all necessarily coming at it from the same starting point. So for myself, I wanted to try and get to a point where I felt comfortable and qualified and in a good, safe space to be able to even just refer other people if I needed to and do that from an educated place, should I say. Yep. So I thought out a qualification to become a coach, predominantly a positive psychology coach, but specializing in alcohol-free. And there's an intensive part of that it goes through how to kind of, when you're going through your clarity calls or discovery calls, when you're working with clients, how to kind of score that and have that conversation that, look, I work with middle lane, grey area drinking women. However, I feel that maybe it may be a little bit more serious on your part. This is what I recommend. And then obviously once you've sought out help elsewhere, then obviously you can come back and we can pick that back up again. But I wanted to try and make sure that I was qualified and that I could do it from a moral perspective. So I qualified as a sobriety coach, alcohol-free coach, in March this year. I think it was May this year.
Really? Just March? Oh, wow. Wow. Congratulations.
It still feels very, very new, but I absolutely love it. I really, really do. So started sharing on Instagram every single day, like I say, and I've done that for just over 2 years now. So I'm 2 years and 3 months alcohol free. I've been a sober coach since I qualified, since May. So again, it's still new. It's still very much my baby. It's just, it's a huge, huge passion of mine.
Amazing. Okay. How was it for you coming to a place of becoming alcohol free? Because your transformation, just physically, your transformation is amazing. I mean, you don't even look like the same person from before when you were drinking. Just from what I've seen on Instagram, it's incredible.
Yeah, I don't feel like the same person. And I kind of forget I've been through that transformation now. It was hard work. And I think sometimes when I share those before and after photos, I get a lot of messages from people that sort of say, oh, did you just stop drinking? The weight fell off you. And I know that people want to hear, yes, of course I did. That's exactly what happened because I wanted to hear that.
Right.
I was in that place where I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to hear there was a golden pill. There was something that I could do really, really quickly that was going to make the weight fall off. But ultimately, what happened for me was just in removing alcohol, it enabled me to be consistent. I'd always had a weight goal in mind. I mean, again, as men and women, we generally do, don't we? And I would be really good Monday to Friday from a diet perspective. But then as soon as it would get to the weekend, I would just go hell for leather. On the red wine, that was my drink of choice as well. So obviously highly calorific. But I would also eat a load of crap as well when I had a drink. So when I stopped drinking, it just enabled me to be consistent. So I was showing up for myself. I was able to go to the gym. I was making better choices. I was sleeping better so that I wasn't as triggered and my cravings weren't as high. I was hydrating myself. I was making sure that I was moving my body. And yeah, I mean, it did take a long time. Don't get me wrong, it didn't fall off. And I had lost, to be fair, I don't know what the conversion will be, but 2 stone before I'd stopped drinking. I went on to lose another 3 stone, maybe 4 stone. I can't remember the actual number, but in total it's 6 stone. I ended up, so it's a lot of.
And how many kilograms is a stone? How many about?
I think kilograms, I think it's, I don't know.
Do you measure anything else by stones or is it just a person's weight?
Right. Yes.
Is it just weight? So it's not like this bag of potatoes is 3 stones. You wouldn't say that at a grocery store?
No,
never. It's just person's weight. Okay, it's like a mystery to me what 5 stone is. I'm gonna have to look that up. Okay,
hold on. Let's
look it up. So you lost 5 stone,
6 stone. Yes,
6 stone.
It's a lot. I need to work it out because it's going to frustrate me. But
okay, let's Google it right now. What is? Please hold, everyone. How many pounds? I feel like we should have Joe Rogan here and be like. He asked his Jamie guy, who's like his Jamie, what is that? How many pounds is 6 stone? 84 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes. And the translation of that is it's a lot.
Yeah, it's just a lot. But so it's a big transformation. It has seeped into every area of my life, Deb. Honestly, there isn't a part of my life that hasn't improved since I stopped drinking. I got a promotion at work. I was showing up for myself. I became more confident. I was pushing myself out my comfort zone. I mean, I launched a business, for God's sake. That is something that I just was kind of beyond my wildest dreams. I wanted to, after becoming alcohol free, and it can be quite hard to find all the resources that you want in those early stages when you don't actually know what it is you're looking for or what's going to work for you. I had this kind of idea that what if I can put something together that enables people to be able to have one application, one place for them to come where they've got resources, they've got trackers, they've got chat forums, community, all sorts. What if I can do that so people have got something at their what's the word I'm looking for?
Like
Something
fingertips.
at their fingertips, yeah, without having to go through all the pain that I did, trying to find all the bits and bobs that suited me. So that's what I went on to do. So in January, I registered Sober Flourish as a business and launched the alcohol-free program for women. At the moment, it's the 100 Days to Flourish, which is what I initially set myself with a 100-day goal to take up alcohol. And yeah, so that's coming up to its first year birthday, which is
Yay!
also
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Sober Flourish. Yes. That's incredible. How did you feel? Did you feel completely overwhelmed that 100 days, like the sound of that? Like, I know I tried to do that's how the last challenge I did was I wanted to take like a month off is basically what I wanted to do. Did it feel like a lot to say, wow, 100 days? 100
oh my
days.
God, yeah. Yeah. And I think that setting that bigger goal than a month was actually what made this become a more solid decision, because I was shit at taking a break from alcohol. I was rubbish. I would set myself a dry January and I would make maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I was just shocking at it. I loved a drink. I absolutely loved a drink. I'll never deny it. Same when I smoked. It's really bad for me, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it at the time. Stopped because it was awful for me. Anyway, so I set myself this 100-day challenge because I thought this is big enough to scare me and I've got to take it seriously. So in those first days, in that first month, I completely immersed myself in Quit Lit. I had a sobriety podcast in my ears every single day, sometimes 2. I would get out, I would go for a walk to try and distract myself. I would listen to the science behind it. I would listen to the implications, the impact, on our brains. I completely brainwashed myself. And I remember 30 days into that 100 days, I'd done enough that I knew I wasn't going to go back. And the thought of forever still made the hair stand up on the back of my neck, and I wouldn't say it out loud. But I remember messaging somebody and saying to them on that day 30, I just know something has clicked. So to go from it being so ingrained in every area of my life, it was something that my husband and I did for fun, to bond.
Yeah.
To talk, to share everything. I mean, I met the guy when I was 15 years old. I was on the streets at youth club drinking cider at that point. So our entire friendship and relationship, I'd always been a drinker. And I wasn't a light drinker either. I was a heavy drinker. I wasn't somebody after 1. I would think nothing of sitting and drinking a bottle of red wine, a bottle and a half of red wine. And half of that would be once I'd convinced Elle to go to bed so I could sit and have my me time eating crisps, watching Netflix.
I love eating crisps.
It was so ingrained in my life.
Yeah.
Get to that 30-day point and then think, oh, no, I'm done. Something had really shifted. So I was a typical binge drinker, middle lane, grey area, whatever you want to call it. But I did vary. It's not right for me to say I just drank at a weekend, because sometimes if I was stressed or I was pissed off or I had an awful week or life was hard, we've done 2 rounds of IVF, life deals with some shit hands sometimes, doesn't it? I would drink every day for a couple of weeks, and then Dale would say, you maybe need to knock it on the head a little bit and wind it in. It would be wrong for me to say I was just a weekend drinker. But it varies. It varies. Or varied, should I say.
Yeah. Okay, I absolutely love what you said, that you brainwashed yourself.
Yes.
Right? Because everything has to shift, and we have to just wash that over ourselves, pour it over ourselves, all of it, the Quit Lit, the Sober podcast, the sober scrolling. Like, I kind of window shopped sobriety for a long time on my Instagram. Before I stopped drinking, it was like I would watch these people like you and, watch other people watch other accounts, who's not drinking, and like get encouraged by that.
Yeah. I used to find myself on these breaks that I'd set myself. And again, it wouldn't just be around dry January or sober October. It would be critical breaks to lose weight, because I knew the only time I could lose a few pounds was when I took a couple of weeks off the booze. It was the only time I could do it. So I would go to Instagram and I would follow all these sobriety accounts. And then all of a sudden, I'd unfollow them all again.
I don't want to see you on my feed. Enough of this.
Yeah. No. Remove. That was a different vision of me. That wasn't me today. And then I would kind of unfollow them all again. But do you not think that you've got to be ready? Because I work with a lot of women that I can say to them, look, you need to submerge yourself in all of this information. You have to listen, you have to educate yourself, etc. That's where
Yeah.
the goal is at. But if they're not ready, why are they going to do that? Because all they're focusing on is just not drinking. They're not ready to make that lifelong change because they can't commit to that, and that's okay. But there's different stages. People are always at different stages, I find. And I say always, I'm not a witch, but I feel like I can generally tell when somebody is ready and it's going to click because they are completely invested. Give me all the information and they'll message and it's everything they can think of, exactly like it was for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So engaged. Like you can't not think about it. It's all you're thinking about. Okay, as you guys know, I love Gießen 0% wines. Their Sauvignon Blanc is my go-to on a regular basis. They recently launched a delicious sparkling brut 0%, which is quickly becoming a fan favorite. I am so proud to have Gießen as the exclusive non-alcoholic wine sponsor of the Thriving Alcohol-Free podcast. Gießen 0% wines are created through the magic of advanced spinning cone technology to remove the alcohol from their full-leaded wines. The award-winning winemaker Duncan Schuler and his team have done wonders in Marlborough, New Zealand by creating an entire family of 0% wines with all the flavor and deliciousness you expect from traditional, quote, full-leaded wine. Their non-alcoholic wines maintain the aroma and the body to create a low-calorie wine that never contains more than 0.5 ABV. Globally available, look for Gießen 0% wines wherever you shop for your non-alcoholic options. Their family of alcohol-free wines include the most effervescent member of the family, the Sparkling Brut 0%, which is absolutely delicious for any celebration. My personal favorite, although I do love them all, is the Sauvignon Blanc, coming in at only 100 calories for the entire bottle. And not to be missed, the other members of their 0% family, the Riesling, the Premium Red Blend, the Rosé, the Pinot Gris. With Gießen 0% wines, there's a de-alcoholized wine for everyone and every occasion. Give Gießen a try and let me know how much you love it. And if you want to meet their winemaker, go back to episode 33 of the podcast where Duncan Schuler joined me to share about the Gießen story. It's so interesting. Do you find now, like in the beginning, like when I stopped drinking, it was all I was thinking about. And I was thinking about my wine still. I was still thinking about drinking. Do you find now that it's not that you have to like focus so hard on your sobriety or focus so hard on not drinking now that you're further in, now that you're 2 years plus in?
I don't think about it.
Yeah, same.
It's so weird. I hate to kind of sound like, oh, it's so peachy over here. But I never thought that I would get to the point where it wasn't on my mind. I never, ever thought, because it was all I thought about.
Yep.
It's just, again, it just goes to show, doesn't it, that it was at the forefront of our mind so much because it always had been at the forefront of our mind. Mm-hmm. And we surrounded ourselves potentially with people that drank a lot. Everything we watched, we would mix in circles where it's what people would talk about. And when you don't do it, you kind of, when you've mastered the skill of quieting in that noise and closing off those old neural pathways and you create new ones, it just quietens and it goes away. And I almost find, and again, I sound a little bit crazy when I say it, the last time I remember feeling a little bit triggered was when we were away in April this year. And we went to a restaurant in Center Parcs and it was a Mexican. And I used to love a spicy margarita. And everybody had got spicy margarita and you could hear them all ordering it. And of course, my ears pricked up. But I remember hearing this conversation happening in my head that I wasn't privy to. It was bizarre, the most weirdest moment. So I'm having a conversation with the kids and I can hear this thing playing off in my head. And it was kind of felt like my subconscious sort of having this, well, we don't do that anymore. Yeah, but how great would it be? Well, we don't do that anymore. And it was very weird. Since then, I've not felt a single thing. And it was almost like the door had been shut in that weird little conversation that was happening that I wasn't even aware of. And it sounds not saying it out loud. But yeah, I can kind of reframe it and reprogram it and it's gone. I don't hear the noise anymore.
Yeah. I got chills when you said that. Really. I mean, yes. And reprogram it. And the door is closed. It's closed. Yeah. And we don't do that anymore. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink. I just don't drink. And good thing you can have a spicy margarita now without the alcohol. There's lots of non-alcoholic options.
I was looking through your book and also looking through your Instagram as well, that you've got some mean recipes on there for spicy margaritas. And I haven't really dabbled in the whole kind of mocktail or mindful cocktail arena really at all since I stopped drinking. Other than
what do you drink? What do you drink typically? Now, what do you drink?
Now, we like an alcohol-free fizz. Generally, purely because that's something that Dale will drink too.
What's an alcohol-free fizz? What is it, like a ready to
Prosecco, like an alcohol-free sparkling wine.
Okay. I'm learning all kinds of terms today.
Yeah, so an alcohol-free sparkling wine. And my red wine, I was a red wine girl completely. But again, I was a full-bodied red wine. So where there's so many red wines out there, they're too watery for me.
Yeah, it's not give. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Stay with the fizzies.
stay with the fizz. Stay with the fizz. But again, I was the sort of person that had to stay away from the alcohol-free options at the beginning because I found them really triggering.
Yep.
And again, I've got lots of women in the group where some could not have survived their initial 100 days without alcohol-free options. They could not have done it because they rely on it so heavily.
Yeah.
I work with a lady at the moment, and she'll often come on her coaching call and she'll have a glass of something non-alcoholic and she's just got in from work, and that is what is working for her. Whereas I couldn't do that. There's a brand over here, you might have it there. It's called Trip. It's a CBD drink in a can.
I don't think so.
And I would have that in a wine glass. But I found the alcohol-free versions too triggering because I know why I was doing it. I was trying to replicate the buzz that I used to get from booze. I knew I needed to stay away from it. So I would get annoyed with an alcohol-free drink because it wasn't giving me that funny sensation in my legs or whatever it was that I thought I was drinking pleasure for before. And I'd get pissed off with it. So I just thought I need to stay away because you're still trying to reach for that buzz. You haven't quite got to that point where you can do that yet. And I wasn't willing to risk my sobriety. So I just ditched it. And now I just live for tea. Typically.
Live for tea. Yes. British tea.
That is it.
You can't go wrong. The black tea, do you put milk with it?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Yes. Removing alcohol just definitely brings consistency in all areas of our life, right? All areas.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It's crept into everything, like I say, work, professionally, from a fitness and health perspective. I mean, I'm in the gym now very early, 5 days a week. I couldn't have done that before. But I also didn't treat myself as a priority. I didn't love myself enough and like myself enough to prioritize myself. That was how I'd managed to get so overweight. That's how I'd managed to have alcohol so much on a pedestal, because I wasn't prioritizing my health and fitness. Well, I was for days of the week, but it was pretty much pointless.
Yeah. How do you feel like alcohol impacted like perimenopause and hormones and just life as a woman?
For me personally, I think I'm only just starting to go into perimenopause now. So I'm coming up to 42 this year.
Okay.
There are a lot of symptoms that I've kind of only really become familiar with since menopause has become such a loud topic over here in the UK and hopefully everywhere else as well.
Yeah, for sure.
We obviously just had menopause month as well, which has really helped. But a lot of the women in my program are of an age where they are in perimenopause. And there's usually kind of two ends of the spectrum, where either they've got severe perimenopausal symptoms and they've stopped drinking and those symptoms have lessened and they're actually nowhere near as bad as they were. So when they've removed the alcohol, the headaches have stopped, they're sleeping better. They get this. There's one lady that said that she had really bad night sweats, which she thought was menopause, but actually when she stopped drinking, they went away completely.
Really?
And then the other end of the spectrum is that they have these perimenopausal symptoms and they stop drinking and the perimenopausal symptoms are still there, but then they're in a position to be able to go and see their doctor and say, I don't drink. Now take me seriously. So I think what we know, obviously alcohol is not a great combination for our hormones, but I know I'm there at the moment, but I haven't had the kind of, yes, you are perimenopausal.
I'm like, I'm past it. I'm through. I'm done. I'm post-menopausal. Yes. So you said last month was, menopause month or whatever. I'm like, my whole life is menopause, menopause year. My Instagram account is sponsored by menopause because I have hot flashes while I'm making drinks. I mean, it's just the craziest thing. Yeah. Okay. So how would you recommend for somebody to show up for their future self? Like really embracing the possibility of what could be for them?
This is something that I share regularly because it's something that I had to do for me. I was massively overweight from where I wanted to be. I was so far away from this version of myself that I had, but I knew that I had to dig deep. I had to dig deep. I had to visualize her. I had to visualize what she was wearing, how she spoke to people, what she did for a living, how she showed up at home, what kind of mother she was. And I had to try and embrace that and start showing up as that version of myself, of my future self, to kind of get there. And I genuinely think that really, really helped me, that kind of mindset shift. So I do a lot of that work with my clients as well, that kind of future self work and really visualizing, how do you feel on those days? What do you smell like? What perfume are you wearing?
It's incredible, isn't it, how powerful just visualizing. I mean, athletes do that, right? They just sit there and they go through their routine. A gymnast, they just go through it in their mind. How powerful our mind is just to visualize that future self.
Yeah. And I do it now. I do it now because I'm not a saint. I mean, God, I'm alcohol free and I've lost some weight and I'm achieving a lot of my goals, etc. But there's always cracks, right? We're human.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
one of my vices is chocolate. I have become an absolute nightmare with sugar. I never, ever had a dessert. Never. I would always have either cheese and biscuits or a glass of wine because I would rather use the calories on wine. Since I stopped drinking, and this is very, very common, isn't it, for people that stop drinking, this sweet tooth has come from nowhere. And I think it happens at different points for people. Some people it's straight away. For me, it wasn't straight away at all. It was when stress hit the fan. When I started, it was when I launched Sober Flourish and I started to get quite stressed. I found that my stress trigger, my sugar trigger is stress completely. So now, again, relating to the future self, I have to think to myself, is this what she does? Is this going to get you closer? Because obviously you have these goals and then the next time the goals might get a little bit bigger. So I'm thinking of that future version of myself now and she's pulling me along. So when I'm thinking, right, okay, well, I'll have a packet of crisps or I'll have that chocolate bar, even though I know it's over my calories, because I have got other weight loss goals and fitness goals at the moment. I have to think, no, it's going to get you further away from your goals. So stop it, fatty. Stop it.
Is that your nickname for yourself, fatty?
Yes. Fatty. No, I have to have a word with myself still now because your goals change, don't they? You don't go away. They grow.
They change. You grow. Yep, exactly. Do you have an accountability partner? Who helps you stay accountable?
Me.
Yeah. Looking yourself in the mirror. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to. I've been through a series of kind of one-to-one coaches in the past, etc. But yeah, I think you know when you've kind of gone off track yourself, you beat yourself up about it, don't you? You don't need somebody else breathing down your neck.
True? Yeah, you're screaming at yourself, fatty.
Yeah,
fatty. I need to nickname myself that. Maybe that will help me visualize myself how I want to be.
That's the thing. I've got to, and I think because it's been a while now, I have to just keep reminding myself.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily just about the future version of myself. It's thinking about, do you want to go back there to that person that couldn't even look in the mirror at herself? I couldn't even hold a gaze in the mirror. And again, I often talk to the ladies in the group about when I would do my mascara, I would look around my face.
Really?
I was doing it, because I just wasn't used to kind of connecting with myself in the mirror because I didn't like that version of myself. And this isn't a pity party.
No.
I didn't like myself. So it's important for me to now look back and think, you don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
Because that version of yourself wasn't the true you. And we don't want to go back there. Me and my little...
Yes. I say the same thing. I say we, and I'm like, me and my 12 personalities. We don't want to go back there. Yes. The best thing ever. All versions are alcohol free now at this point. Yeah. All versions of myself. Yeah. Okay. So I know you mentioned that in the beginning, alcohol-free options were a trigger for you. Now they're not so much.
No,
right?
God.
Yeah, now they're not. And I know that for many people, it's a trigger. For me, it was like the gal you mentioned in your membership who it was the bumper rails for me of my sobriety. It kept me on track. So when you go out and about, are there certain things that you do drink or that you like to order? Like
the party animal that I am.
Yes. So when you go out to the pubs, when you're running around town with your boys.
All the time.
Yes.
When I go out, my annual trip out to the pub, if they've got a decent variety, I'll always have an alcohol. I'm not, again, I don't.
It's okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Yeah, just curious.
Places don't here, unless you're in the cities, which I am not. I live in the middle of nowhere.
Do you?
Yes, by the river, in the middle of nowhere. It's not literally by the river, it's about half a mile away. But we have one village pub that still serves one alcohol-free lager. So I'd rather not bother, personally.
Yeah.
If
just have
balloons.
Oh, why are we having balloons? This is hilarious on Zoom. We now have balloons. Jodi's having a party. We are celebrating her 1-year Sober Flourish anniversary. So the balloons just showed up on Zoom.
Yes, it can be very awkward when you're doing one-to-one coaching and you're in a very serious moment and all of a sudden fireworks start going off behind you. I haven't worked out how to turn them off yet.
I have no idea what Zoom is doing. That is hilarious. Okay, before we go, would you give a plug for the coaching that you offer and the programs that you have? I'd love for everybody to know about what you have going on.
God, is it that time already? Yes. Okay. So I offer one-to-one alcohol-free coaching. Right. And I have my Sober Flourish 100 Days to Flourish program. And I run them on a monthly version every Sober October, every Dry January. And I am also a business mentor. So I will be launching that side of things very soon.
Really? Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. It's something I've done in the corporate world for the last 20 odd years.
Really?
Helping people with the kind of their online presence and building their brand, launching their business. And bringing it to life, sometimes just bringing those ideas to life and actually getting it off the ground. So yeah, it's something I'm super, super passionate about. So yeah, the two things work quite well together. When you're looking at a professional woman that wants to ditch the booze and she's got some business ideas, things go really, really well.
Yeah, it's like the sky's the limit. There's no holding her back. Okay, we'll have all that in the show notes. So if anybody wants to jump into maybe your Dry January, that would be awesome. Thank you so much for being here. So great to meet you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Big time cheers to you for tuning in to the Thriving Alcohol-Free podcast. I hope you will take something from today's episode and make one small change that will help you to thrive and have fun in life without alcohol. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social, send up a flare, or leave a rating and a review. I am cheering for you as you discover the world of non-alcoholic drinks and as you journey towards authentic freedom. See you in the next episode.